Hey, I'm Dina Blizzard, and you're watching One Funny Morning. Welcome to One Funny Morning Show.
From Monday to Friday.
And sometimes on Saturday.
Why would you say that in front of all these people?
You never know what's gonna happen.
Carmen.
Cortez.
Good morning, everybody.
What's outside your weather drawer?
Good morning. Uppie, everybody.
Cheers! From New York City.
Hi, we are on our last night of
Let me see your ball drop.
So now get ready for your One Funny Morning Show with your host,
Dina Blizzard.
I love it. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. You got a nice morning from, 15 people drunk at a restaurant, and you're welcome. It is Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. Good morning, all from Ohio. We have a very large Ohio contingency that I think I have greatly underestimated. So welcome to all the Ohioans. Boobie's here. Boob, come here. All right, so here's what's happening. So Lulu got picked up. She is traveling with Jim today. So now all we have left is Boobie. And Boobie is scared out of her mind because Brooke had some friends over last night. So now she's staring at all of the people in the kitchen. And this is what that looks like. In case you wanted to have Boobie on as a co-host, this is what it looks like.
Oh, she's cute though.
She says, I don't want to die. So Boobie is basically sitting on my leg under the table and doing what boxers do, which is lean against you with all the power of her entire body. And so, freezing in Reno, and I have to run a million errands. This is the intensity in which Ruby lives her life. Anytime she sees a person besides the five of us, this is what she looks like. She's like, you guys, we're going to die. It's the eyebrows that do it. And there's no way it would look that good on me. Yes, it would, Dee. Jody did a beautiful picture of me with silver platinum hair, and I looked amazing, and nobody believes it. I don't believe it. I think everybody else fell for it, but I was like, no one actually looks like that. So such concern. Her legs are digging into my legs. Okay. All right. Not as comfortable as one would think. So good morning. Good morning. Di's feeling well. I talked to her yesterday, and she's doing better. So hopefully we will get to be eating some of our breakfast bake soon, because these have to be done before Christmas, or what's the point? So we have a great guest today that'll be joining us a little bit later this afternoon. So I thought we would start with a slightly different topic called why is my dog so afraid? I'm only kidding. Boobie, you okay? No. You know what's so funny is that she's watching them as if she's a good guard dog. But if any one of them walked even one step closer, her heart would stop working and she would fall over and die. It's not a good watchdog. She's more of like a, let me see when I'm going to die. Okay, Boobie. Okay. All right. I should hold Boobie like a baby over my shoulder, but they're facing the wrong way. So this is, okay. Okay. All right. I'll just do this. I know. She's so scared. She's so scared. How many people when you were little thought the word was a scared? Be honest. I remember, I don't know if it was the kids. I was like, no, the word is just scared. They're like, I'm a scared. And I said, there's not an A. Okay. She watching out for herself, Bryn. This is not like, let me get on your lap. I only watch what's happening. So I'd be the first to alert you. No. She will jump out of my arms and run and hide. Maybe scream, save yourself. But I doubt it. Mostly her nails would dig into my skin as she leapt off of my face. Scary. But my son was so kissed. Joey's like, I still say it that way. I am scared. I know. Bro, come over here and pet her for a second so she stops with the. Yeah, they're in the fridge.
I haven't seen it.
They should be in the fridge. Or they're in the cabinet.
It's underneath Gustavo.
You want to say hi to everybody?
Huh? I look very gross right now.
Young and beautiful people never look gross. That's the joy. I remember when we were your age and we would come in and try to put makeup on and Grandma would say, you're so beautiful. Makeup is not for young people. Makeup is for old people. You don't need me. You're a natural beauty, Grandma would say. You're a natural beauty. Grandma doesn't say that to me anymore, ironically.
She's like, get that makeup on, bitch.
You should put some makeup on. So, you ugly.
No, you're literally gorgeous.
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 You think I'll be gorgeous with my silver hair? She's like, what? How are you going to feel if my whole head is silver?
I think it'll look really pretty. Like that one lady on the Golden Mask.
Good morning, Tiffany's here. She said, hi, girls.
Wait. Oh my God, wait. I need to
oh my gosh,
you.
wait.
I read the book,
Tell
Tiffany, and I haven't read a book in
Wow.
a long. Well, no, I've read books, but like I haven't finished them because they weren't as interesting. I finished your book in like a few weeks, and that's good for me.
I thought you were to say a few hours.
Kind of. It was the best book. I loved it so much. And the fact that I can read that book is crazy. It's so good. Like it flows. Like that's saying something. Because I hate books normally.
Wow. You know, I'm writing one. Do you think you'll read mine, or I'll just send it to Tiffany's daughter? She can't read it until she's 18. But
yeah, I literally recommended it to all my friends. Like I loved it so much. So I hope
there you go,
that.
Tiffany.
Yeah.
If you need her to type this up for the back cover of your next book,
yeah,
if you're
I'll have my own
looking
section
with a picture with a headshot of Brooke on the back of your next book,
and
just
Boobie.
let her know. She's here for you. So Tiffany is one of the people that encouraged me to write a book. She don't even know most of the dirty chapters that are in it. What? And she's like, wait, what? I gotta call Dina. What? So yeah, we'll see. I did a good job. I did about a quarter of the book, and then I lost track of myself. So I gotta go write some more things. So we'll see. But yeah, everybody would be excited to see you. This made my morning. Thank you, Gina. So happy you're writing a file. I know. So we'll see. Did Brooke just sing with Rowan at a 55 plus community? Yeah, she was there.
Wait, what? Was one of the ladies there?
Peacock. Oh no, that's different. Tara Michelle was there. She must have known you were there.
Was she working there?
I don't know. Oh, she said, I have a video. Oh, send it to me, Tara. I was not there, nor did I hear anything about it. Which is how this goes. So there's that. All right. So here is, we're talking about stress in a little bit, but an article came out that I thought we would look at because, I love to look at these and see if we can guess. So here was the title of the article, 10 fascinating things we learned about kids in 2023. I was like, what? So these are all based on science. We have science that thanks for these findings on everything from screen time to mental health and language and behavioral development. So I feel like we've been learning about kids for a long time. So apparently there's 10 new things that we learned about children in 2023. And I would like to know if you want to guess what. I'm going to guess if it's screen time is bad. Is that new? Lulu? I feel like we knew that. Yeah, don't your kids know yet that we have eyes everywhere? Everywhere. They don't know. I think that
Why did I have a
Brooke
sense
is
of-
Brooke is probably the one that's under the radar because she's performing. Although Dean sometimes will show up at ABC things too. A lot of people have seen Dean show up on their televisions when he does clips here and there. I think Jacqueline's the one that's most in hiding. You can't find her. She's very stealthy. Very stealthy. Tanya's like, kids are more annoying. That I found out in 2023. Anybody else want to take a guess on the things that we found out about children in 2023? Let me see.
Were the children born in 2020?
Okay, I just don't understand this. Why do we need science to tell us this? Here's number one. Physical activity is good for kids' psyches as well as their bodies. Yeah, they don't have a handle stress. They're spoiled rotten. Social skills are out the door. They do dumb crap. All good. And didn't need it. A study from Eastern Finland University found that 8th and 9th graders who walk or rode their bikes to school had higher perceived academic performance and enjoyed school more than their peers who used other forms of transportation. All right, that's kind of interesting. So if you live near the school, students who enjoyed a leisure time physical activity such as sports practices 4 to 6 hours a week were 50% less likely to experience school burnout than their less active peers. Interesting. All right, here we go. They lie a lot. Listen, I would much rather read all of they're needy and not self-sufficient. They lie. Guys, this is so much more entertaining than this article. All right, more screen time for babies is associated with an increased risk of developmental delays. How many people are putting their babies in front of a screen? A study published by the Journal of American Medicine found a correlation between the amount of screen time babies got at age 1 and their chances of having developmental delays at ages 2 and 4. Delays at ages 2 and 4 were found in both communication and problem solving. How many people are putting 1-year-old babies in front of a screen?
A lot.
What? A
1-year-old?
I've seen 1-year-olds. I've had 3 of them.
Yeah.
I've met 3 1-year-olds.
Yeah, but like I feel like parents now, not all parents, but I feel like
1-year-olds?
Yeah.
I've definitely seen like 2 or 3-year-olds.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like it's older kids. Why can't my son call me mom and said half the time it's bruh? Yeah, bruh. I see it in grocery stores constantly. Can a 1-year-old hold a screen? I don't know. Maybe it's been a while since I've had a 1-year-old. Baby Mozart. Yeah, but baby Mozart. Okay, I did that. But, that wasn't that. I mean, there were some things on the screen, but there was music and baby Einstein. Yeah, I don't know. Just like looking herself in the phone. Many people, but 1-year-olds in front of screens, these are directed for 1-year-olds. Yeah. My extremely smart daughter would watch Baby Einstein while I was working. Boom. Okay, why did we need a study for this? Are you ready? Here's number 3. Kids who have warm, loving relationship with parents grow up to be kinder people. You mean, let me get this straight. You had to do a study to find out that if 2 people love you more than life itself, compared to people who don't have 2 people that love them more than life itself, will turn out better? Thank God we did this study. What? 1-year-olds work my phone better than me, right? I don't understand. Screen time impacts adolescents' brains and may put them at risk for mood disorders. Kids who spent more time on screens at ages 9 and 10 were more likely to show symptoms of anxiety at 11 and 12. Some kids are simply born for sleepers. This just sounds like stuff we already knew. Oh, that's not a good one. Talking to babies influences the structure of their brains. Don't we know that? Isn't that why we talk to children and plants? A correlation between the amount of speech babies were exposed to and their brain structure. Scientists measured the amount of language that babies were exposed to at home. How would you measure that? How are you going to measure it? They found that infants who heard their parents and other adults saying more words had higher concentrations of myelin in parts of their brain associated with language. While parents may sometimes feel a bit silly holding one-way conversations with babies, talking to children is how they eventually learn to speak. And now we know that these experiences impact the physical structure of their brain. Let me get this straight. You mean having one-way conversations with people over the internet every single day for 3 years when people actually don't talk back to you? Isn't completely crazy? But that's weird because I do that every day. Children's nap patterns are related to their cognitive functioning. All right, children ages 8 to 3 years, they found a relationship between nap patterns and child's cognitive functioning. I can't even say it. I need a nap. Our research shows that how frequently a child naps reflects their individual cognitive need. Some are more efficient at consolidating information during sleep, so they nap less frequently. This is crazy. All right. I know. Oh, we talk back. You just don't hear us. Carrie, I don't know. I guess smart people don't have to nap as much, which is why I nap all the time. And said that there's evidence that people who drive down the road on a screen have balance problems. Apparently their brain sees all the things passing in a car, helps develop that part of their brain. That's so crazy. Yeah. Jurgen, good morning. I know, Carrie, I nap every day. So now every time I nap, I'll be like, go to bed, dummy, just to myself. Honestly, that's not far from what I say. I had to take a nap yesterday because I got my period yesterday and I went to the gym, which apparently means your body's broken. Has anybody done? Just okay. So yesterday, it's just, I'm done the morning show. I'm talking to Brooke. And she was like, hey, can you pick up some pads? Because I got my period. I was like, oh, me too. Here's her reaction. What? You still get your period? And I go, okay, first of all, I'm supple. I'm young and supple. And this all works. Okay? And the shock in your face, how would you, crumpled, crusty old lady, still get her period? That's her face. That was her face to me. Then an hour later, I'm talking to Jacqueline. And she was like, hey, so-and-so called. She's not feeling good. You should go see her. And I said, well, I'm not feeling good myself. So I need to lay down and then I'm going to go see her. She's like, you should go see her now. I was like, well, I'm not because I'm laying in bed because I don't feel good. We do this whole thing where she got to tell me I got to get up. But I'm pretty sure she's sleeping. And then I said, Jacqueline, I just got my period. I don't feel good. I went to the gym. These were all poor decisions. I have to take a nap. Here's Jacqueline. You still get your period? I was like, okay. I am not sure why everyone doesn't understand how youthful I am.
Oh, she looks so sad.
Yeah, she looks like she's about to be attacked is what she looks like.
You're not going to be attacked.
So that was my day yesterday where everyone wondered how in the world I would still have a period. And that really feels good on the inside. So, and then I decided, yeah, I like to use the word supple. And I highly suggest you use it in your own lives. It upsets a lot of people because they're like, who says supple? Throw it in conversation today, please. In the most inopportune times, in work, mostly, especially if you work in tech, just throw it out there. because people, my leg is going numb as we speak, Linda. This dog is so bony, and she is pressing her dumb knees into my leg so much. Yeah, well, I'll say, Tanya, so I hit menopause, no period. But then I got the pellets in my butt. And the pellets give you estrogen back, which causes a period. So then I started getting a period for like, I don't know, 2 days, none, then 3 days, then none, then 5, just all the time. And she was like, nope. It's been a whole thing. So I get it. I literally get it the same day of the month. It lasts 4 days. I'm on Facebook, Barb. You can find me there. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And for some reason, apparently, I don't remember doing this, but I must have. But you guys remember like how old you were when you started buying your own like period products? Because everyone comes home and steals them from my house.
What?
That's normal. You know what I'm talking about. That's
Hairbands?
yeah, sure, hair bands. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so yeah, Jacqueline comes home and steals toilet paper. Period product. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You guys want chocolate chip?
Yeah, it's a whole thing. Brooke, I would love some pancakes with chocolate chips.
Oh, I forgot that you could do that.
Actually,
I
a
was kidding, yeah.
popular vote.
Do you want chocolate chips?
A popular vote, aka any American crepes.
Are you trying to tell me something, Michelle?
Like creepy pancakes.
I was making them.
Michelle fixed her morning. Michelle fixed her face. I tried to find you live. It won't come up for me at Facebook again. I don't know why. Yeah, she forgot I had a period. She forgot that I wanted pancakes. I'm not really here. That's where we are. Mm-hmm. And Michelle Mooney also wants chocolate chip pancakes. Mm-hmm. Anyway, so Mom freaking out thinking she was pregnant when she hit menopause. She was maybe 51. My dad was terminal. But they had one hat last her. What? She wasn't though, Beth, right? I found pads in my mom's purse. Thought my mom was a medical getting her period insurance. Turns out they were poise pads, not period pads. He came back with dinner napkins. No, he didn't. She sent him to the store for sanitary napkins, and he came back with dinner.
Why are you doing that?
I remember when the belt attached to the pad, and by the afternoon it was a thing crawling up my back. Juliet, I missed that, and it's super weird. Mm-hmm. Just buy it for them for Christmas and watch their face. Mm-hmm. No, Angela, that's how I'm supposed to be getting estrogen. It's just that they kind of control your period through the use of progesterone. It's a whole thing. It's basically a science experiment that happens in my lower regions every month. I love it. I'm not gonna, yeah, ick. All right, anyway, so I guess we're gonna just keep Uppie here. This is what this looks like now. This is the morning show. Surprise baby at 55. Coolly, you have upset a lot of people, and I don't know why you would say that. The belts were horrific. See, Judy, I missed it. I can't even speak to it, and I'm so glad. So listen, there is obviously a lot of stress when it comes to women in their 50s that are getting their period. It shouldn't be happening. There's a lot of stress, as we talked about yesterday. Brooke, I have a guest coming on now, so. All right. A lot of stress going into the holiday season. We talked about it yesterday when we were kind of going through our article about what are the things that psychologists say that they don't do during the holiday season. And it kind of unraveled a number of scenarios for all of us. But sexy producer Michelle was able to get us the perfect guest for this holiday season. Thanks, Booby. Because she is basically an expert in stress. And so we wanted to bring her on because I know that between apparently all my kids moving back home, what? I mean, I love it that you're here and the holidays.
How do you
and my mother, who insists on going to urgent care every day and then asking me to pick her up and then leaving before I get there and then following her there only for them to say, you have a cold and please don't come back. Whatever. These are just small things in my life that don't bother me at all. Okay, so let me introduce our guest because her resume is quite fabulous. And I want you to think about all the things that you want to ask her about how she can fix your life. And it's a very simple thing, and I think she has all the answers. So here we go. Dr. Kathleen Hall is the founder and CEO of Mindful Living Network and the Stress Institute. After many years working as an international stress expert at the Stress Institute, she realized that mindful living is an antidote to stress and subsequently founded the Mindful Living Network in 2007 to promote mindful living, mental and physical health, stress resilience, and work-life balance. She's highly sought after during times of stress like mass shootings, terrorist bombings, and disasters. She's been featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, as well as Dr. Oz, Anderson Cooper. Everyone knows is my boyfriend. She's worked with a number of Fortune 500 companies in stress, mindful living, and work-life balance, including McDonald's, Home Depot, the Kellogg's Foundation, and Martha Stewart Publications coined her as the Stress Queen. She's earned a Bachelor of Science in Finance from Jacksonville State University, Master's in Divinity, from Emory University, a Doctorate in Spirituality, and a PhD. She's become interested in the mind-body connection to stress and health outcomes, and she continued her studies with medical pioneers at Harvard, at University of Massachusetts Medical Center, so many amazing things. She's the author of 4 books: Mindful Living Every Day, Uncommon Hope, A Life in Balance, Nourishing the 4 Roots of True Happiness, and Alter Your Life, Overbooked, Overworked, Overwhelmed. And she lives with her family in Atlanta, where she continues her work with animal rescue groups. She's going to love Ruby, as well as hospitals, inner city, public schools, and has spent most of her life volunteering with countless organizations. So we're happy to have her with us. Yes, she has come to help us. So please help me welcome to the show, Dr. Kathleen Hall. Hey, Dr. Kathleen.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. You already look so relaxed in your morning routine, and I already look so stressed.
I am relaxed.
Do you have a dog laying on your
I have 2 Jack Russells right here beside
you?
Yeah, and a 3-legged cat, a little tripod sitting right here.
Oh,
That's nothing. I guess 5 years ago, we moved from the farm back to the city of Atlanta. I had 12 inside dogs. I had 35 outside dogs, 20 cats, 5 possums, 6 raccoons. So yeah, and 65 horses. Let me throw in the 65 horses. So yeah, 10 miles of board fence and all that stuff, and then had a very busy life. So yeah, I'm an animal. I'm an animal trapped in a human body, and it's very painful because I do not understand these humans. I do not understand it at all.
No, that's amazing.
Yeah.
What made you decide to give all that up and move closer to the city?
Well, I did it for 35 years, and it's a lot of work. We're in the breeding business. So I was the one that was foaling out mares from, 1 in the morning till 5 in the morning. And talk about stress, be at the rear end of a 1,200-pound mare who's delivering a 120-pound foal. And lots of times it's transverse, which means it's sideways instead of coming out the way that it should. And you're there by yourself, and it's always sleeting. It's spring. That's when they're usually born because we breed in the spring. And they carry them for a year. So, and I'm always by myself with my overalls on and up there. And I call either my assistant or I'll call the vet, and they're an hour away, about an hour and 15 minutes away. So everything happens. So yeah, I live it. Yeah. So there's something that you just never forget about it being freezing and sleeting and snowing. You're alone in that straw, and you look at this female horse who's got this huge thing, and she's trying to deliver it, and the look on her face. Now, here's the other side of stress.
Tell me.
Her hoofs can crush you at any second, remember, because you're right there at her rear end. And that's where, of course, her hooves are. Mm-hmm. So you talk about being calm. And, whatever happens, you have to be the calmest, because horses are one of the most intuitive beings on the planet. Mm. So anyway, you have to take her through that. And then you take out the baby comes out, and then you're in lots of times the sack is too thick, and I always have my knife in my overalls. So then you look at her and you can see the little tongue, and she's in this thick sack. And then you take the knife sometimes and you have to open it. And when that water from the birth goes down into the straw and the steam goes up into the cold air, and the mare looks at her baby, and you're one with all that, nothing else on the earth. I'm telling you, it's like the most terrifying few minutes of your life and the most absolute unique joy and connection with life itself. So I miss that, but 10 miles of board fence, 500 acres, running everything, writing books, traveling around the world. I did it for 30, 35 years. And then I wonder what it's like. I wonder what it's like not to be so busy. See, because remember, I came from being a workaholic. So I wondered, am I just transposing? Do you see, even though it looks a little different than Wall Street, I'm doing the same thing again.
Patterns.
I said, I wonder what would happen. So I bought a house in a neighborhood that I've loved, lived here before. And it's been pretty traumatic to go from, waking up, looking across a 20-acre lake. And even though I worked organic gardens, canned my own food, had a bird sanctuary. So it was pretty much heaven, but also isolating. The older you get, and we're women, the isolation is horrible. And as I was aging, I went, this isn't fun anymore. I want women to belly laugh with and get pissed off with and talk about our ratty little kids and how they betrayed us. And, just the whole collective consciousness of being, and especially at my age, when I was marching in my era, I was marching with Betty Friedan, Gloria Steinem, all that stuff for title, for the Equal Credit Opportunity Act. Women couldn't have credit. Remember the Equal Rights Amendment? I mean, we had nothing back then. So I miss all that camaraderie and wildness.
Yeah.
And even though I lived in the wild with, of course, bears and coyotes and my buddies, all my friends, but it's a different wildness than the older you get, letting go of being, we're born into being somebody's daughter. And we're, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, somebody's grandmother, and all of that stuff. And I wondered, so anyway, it's been heaven with my friends. I've got tribes. I've got different tribes that meet different needs. Some are political or radically always, marching, or our poor woman, Kate Cox in Texas, who's had to sit there with this baby dying inside of her. I actually worked at a hospital here called Northside, and I was the chaplain out there for the women. It's a women's hospital. It was a women's hospital. And I did all the stillbirths. I did all the women like her whose babies were dying or dead or had to have emergency abortions. And, it was their first child. They were excited. They were lawyers. They were doctors. There were people like you and I that had waited to have a baby forever. And then they find out it doesn't have a head, or it's dead, or something horrible. So I did that for a while in my clinical training. And so that case in Texas has really, 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 really hit me at the core of my being. How a woman, and your husband too, but still how helpless you feel. Helpless.
Yeah.
There's a thing.
You have entered the show with the biggest boom of stories that we've ever had. It's been quite amazing, and I have like 100 questions. But first, a couple things. Did you say that the baby horse is 125 pounds?
100, right about that. Sure. Yeah. And the cool thing is, part of my stress management too was we entrain with animals, meaning that's why you had that dog on your lap and a cat or a horse. A horse's heartbeat is an average about 40, 45 beats a minute. And so when I would get stressed or whatever, seeing mine be 100, 110, I'd go up, and all my pregnant mares, I'd just lay on them, and I'd feel the baby kick too, by the way. And by the way, there's nothing like looking at a sonogram with a little horse swimming around in their mother. I'm telling you, it's like a different experience. It's the hardest. Ask anybody that runs a breeding farm. It's the hardest thing you'll ever do in your life. Now, this was my husband's idea, by the way. He always wanted horses.
And then somehow you're alone in the barn.
Yeah, I was terrified of horses.
I would be too.
Yeah, and so and especially women that have suffered or survived sexual abuse or violence in the home and all that stuff, which I did. It's a terrifying thing.
Yeah.
So I looked at him, and I'm all into walking into every fear that I have. Of course, that's part of my whole story of my life. I went, sure, you want to have a world champion horse? Okay, I'll try to raise one. So that's when we bought the farm and stuff. And he's one of those doctors. He's a physician. My daughter's a physician. We're all doctors. So, but I didn't know this till we got the farm and the horses. He's the kind of, what do you call it? Not white collar, but one of those upper class guys that stays in the hall of the barn with his cell phone when the hits the fan. Like, who do you want me to call? I really don't get dirty. I really don't like horse poop. Yeah, I'm a gastroenterologist. I deal with blood all day long. I just really don't do this. So anyway, after we got into it for years, I did the dirty work.
And he was on the phone.
But I wouldn't take $1 million.
Well, let me ask you this though, because I I've seen animals, mothers, have babies. Like you'll see like a giraffe have a giraffe, right? And it's like you could see like you're saying, the pain in their eyes. But then as soon as the mom has the baby, she just walks away like, I'm done. I am good. And then she'll kind of glance back, maybe lick it. But like, is it that instantaneous where the horse has it and then looks fine? Or like, cause they just follow the baby. And I'm always like, is anybody paying attention to the mare? How's the mare? Like, does it take a long time for them to recoup or?
No, horse jumps up right away. The mare jumps up. Remember, this is why horses are so jumpy. Horses are prey. People think that they're big and they're afraid of them. But remember, throughout time, they're eaten. They're eaten by wolves and coyotes and animals and people. So they're afraid. That's why they have a 320-degree sight. That's why their eyes are here.
Wow.
So horses are prey and they know it. So the first thing they do after that baby's born is they jumped up to protect it. So that's the other side of the coin is when I have complications with the baby and it's dying or dead. I'm trying to do something, clear out its throat, clear out its mouth. The mare will jump up, of course. And so you have to deal with her, see, because she knows something's wrong. So no, they're very, very, very protective. That's why I'm one of the only ones. You just can't have somebody walk in the middle of a mare thing. No. They're very, very, very protective. Because remember, they know somebody's going to eat in their DNA. They know that something's going to kill their baby.
Wow.
And so for the first 6 months, by the way, since I'll give you this little primer on horses, horses are not born with immunoglobulins. They have no immune system. Foals don't. Mm-hmm. So they have passive transfer from their mothers for the first 6 months. So that's why the nursing is so huge. And if we've had a mare with no milk, then we had to get nurse mares from Kentucky to come down and nurse the mares because.
Like a wet nurse? There's wet nurses for horses?
Absolutely. Yeah. We actually started, we had so many horses at University of Georgia. We actually started the neonatology unit over there with a goat. You always have to have a goat in a neonatology unit because when the mare's nervous and everybody's nervous, a goat calms everybody down immediately. See how you're picking up?
What?
See all these tips you're picking? You thought it was just about stress. I was
going to say, are you saying I should get a goat for just out here? And then anytime I'm stressed, I can be like, guys, let's go to the goat. And just the goat would come in.
No, it doesn't. It's not the same for humans. No, you don't want to do that for humans. Yeah. Because you'd have to clean up the poop. Another thing for you to do.
I'm like your husband.
You have to watch it eat. Like me, I have 40 camellias in the backyard and roses. They eat everything that they possibly can eat. So no, you don't.
But you have 40 what in your backyard?
Camellias, beautiful, gorgeous. You know what camellias are? Those gorgeous flowers. Like Coco Chanel on all of her things. She, that's an interesting biography about how she got attached to camellias, by the way.
Okay, Kathleen, I feel like I could talk to you about 12 different topics, mostly horses and now goats.
Probably 100 different topics.
Probably 100. You're very interesting, but you've named so many things that you've done. But one of the things that you said is that you are the kind of person that when you are afraid of something or scared of something, you move towards it. I am that same person. So like, and you are called the stress queen. So like, tell us, how does one become you? How did you come about? Why stress? Why were you drawn to this?
I was on Wall Street on the 104th floor of the World Trade Center that is no longer there. And I lived in Atlanta, flew back and forth, had 2 children, and was married to a gastroenterologist. So to say I was stressed is the understatement of the world. So what I did, though, I went up there and I knew these guys really well. I was the only woman. There were about 75 men. And I watched them really turn from these really sweet kind of teddy bear guys when we all first got there to these kind of monsters. Greed, you know, Porsche after Porsche, affairs, cocaine. And so I really sat back and observed them and went, what is going on here? And I realized that what they were doing was covering up what they were afraid of, you know. And then I thought, why am I here? What am I afraid of? So as I kept drinking more and more, and my marriage was falling apart and everything was happening, I went, you know what? I think I was 35, 37. I said, I can either face this now. And was smart. I had billionaire Chinese clients. I was buying and selling companies all over the world. So I was obviously one of 75 men, and I had to prove myself all the time. It was exhausting. You can imagine, because they were waiting for me to fail with 2 kids. And back then it was, why would you work anyway if you're married to a doctor? Way back then. So what happened was, I said, I can't do this. Didn't say I can't do this. I said, I will not do this. Now I'm an Emerson Thoreau person. Okay. Emerson, Thoreau, you know, existentialism, all this other stuff. And I went, this is not the way to live. So what happened was, I said, they're all living by fear. So I sat there, drew a circle, and I wrote my 5 greatest fears. And my greatest fears, first off, I knew I could manipulate my way through life. I was attractive. I was connected. I could, rap Steve Jobs, or this is the old days, Bill Gates, all those kind of guys. We did IPOs, Ted Turner. We did public offerings and all that. So I knew my power. I was very attractive. So I knew all those were manipulative. Manipulative is the key word.
Right.
What I did was I looked at myself in the mirror and I went, you know what? You can play this game for the rest of your life. You can manipulate your life. I even manipulate my husband. Wow, this is really horrible. So what I did was I wrote the 5, and I said, I'm afraid. So I wrote the 5 things. First was being poor.
Okay.
Second was not being as powerful as I was. Third was losing my intelligence, my edge on finance, or, N+1 value theories and all that stuff. One was not having status, because I lived on West Paces Ferry. You don't know where that is, but it's that's where we lived. And the last was being alone. I was terrified of being alone. So here I was flying back and forth by myself and all that, but I knew I was married, knew I had these kids, knew I had a family. So that was what I was terrified of. So I looked at that circle. It was a circle. And I went, this is really a horrible way to live. I'm terrified of these things. So this means I could just keep making money thinking I'm going to get it. I'm going to be protected from all these things. Or I can jump into them. I can face every single one of them. So I went.
Kathleen, how old were you when you made this circle?
37. So I went up to the Hamptons with a big party, and I walked into this guy's den, his office, and I looked, and on the wall was a quote by Thoreau, and it said, I went to the woods to live deliberately, to confront the essential facts of life, to learn what it had to teach, so that when I died, I would know that I had lived. And I just started crying hysterically and said, I am the biggest fake that ever lived. So this is the truth. Came home, sold everything I had, quit my job. I went and started up in the North Georgia mountains. I started looking for a cabin. It only took one day, one real estate agent. I found a cabin in the woods, 500 acres in the middle of the national forest. And so what I did was came home and I said, we're going to have a family meeting, and you can have 5% of me for the rest of my life, which is this life we're living now, or you can have 100% of mommy for the rest of your life if we do it, little experiment. And the experiment was I had to live up there for a year by myself with no power. Now, mind you, there was no electricity, no gas, no nothing. There was an outhouse in the middle of the national forest. So I don't even want to talk about how wild it was. So we took a vote. and voted how we'd figure it out, because my daughters were playing sports and stuff, that I would come down for every game. They would come up, every other weekend or every weekend. But I had to go through the terror of all my 5 fears. No power. So I bought 2 pair of overalls, a pair of boots, and 4 pairs of size small men's t-shirts. And first night, rattlesnakes, copperheads, coyotes, bears scratching at the thing in the middle of the night, totally by myself. No alcohol, no nothing. I made myself face every single fear. And then what happened was, hunters that had wounded animals, after a couple of weeks or so, they'd smell the food, out into the woods. And so they'd start coming to my door. So whether they had been shot with arrows or guns or whatever, that's how I got into the rescue business. I started bringing them in with me and working with them. And so that's what happened. I lived up there. And then the game wardens came and said, you need to protect yourself in case these hunters come up or something. So they bought me a gun and put up targets and taught me how to shoot. So I became an expert shot. And anyway,
this is like a Lifetime movie in the middle of a CSI something. This is an incredible story.
So that's what I did. And so that's what I decided. So that's my tap route. Was I went, if I am not authentic for the rest of my life, if I am not real, then what is my life worth? So to be honest with you, that is exactly how I started. And a lot of my people that know me call me fearless, but I'm not fearless. No one's fearless. That's not true.
Full of fear, but you face it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, let me ask you, so after this year is over, what do you do when you come back? Like, you come back to life, you grab your stuff, you go.
Well, what happened was, a friend of mine, like you, we were, very spontaneous. She's adorable. She was really spiritual. And so they were having a Nobel Prize conference out at Emory, where I had gone. No, I hadn't been there yet. Excuse me. So I went out there. She said, would you come with me? It's the Dalai Lama, Thich Nhat Hanh, and Jimmy Carter. And they're going to be speaking in a 2-day conference. Would you come down from the mountains and go with me? I said, sure. I don't know what I'm going to do. I know money. I know it like the back of my hand. But I love architectural design. I'm a master gardener. I love to garden. So, and I love to can everything too. I'm a canning freak. But I learned that at the farm. I kept my own gardens and did my things. So I said, I'm either going to go to Georgia Tech and be a landscape architect. And she said, no, come with me first before you get into another graduate school. So anyway, what happened was, I went out there and my life changed forever. I met Jimmy Carter, who opened my heart. I'm not going to cry, but in ways that I never dreamed possible. Then the Dalai Lama was different, because instead of running or instead of going to anger management classes or stress management classes or all these other things that I had thought about doing, he said, no. He said, it's information. It's beautiful. Embrace it. Pretend that your fear is a baby. Pretend you're stressed. Put it in a pink blanket and sit in a rocking chair. So it was the opposite of the way Western get it. You bring it into you and you love it. You don't judge it as bad. It's information. So that was number 2. And 3 was Desmond Tutu. And Desmond Tutu and I sat beside each other at lunch, and he started talking, and he leaned over with he's very tiny, he was, touched my hand, and he looked into my eyes, and he said, the magic of your life, Kathleen, will be when you don't run from your suffering, that when you ease yourself into it, just like a beautiful gift. And he said, your life will change forever. He said, this is your gift. Your suffering is your gift. So it changed my life. So they all invited me to come there. And that's how I went there for 3 years. I left the woods. That's how I left the woods. I went there. Wow. And that's what I did. And they changed, those people changed because they came there. They were sitting professors there. So they came and went. They had chairs there at Emory. Wow. So it changed my life forever, about stress too. Remember, because you don't run from it. It's information. It's not negative.
Yeah.
It will kill you. Yeah. And it can, chronic stress and all this, which, I know the science, and we can talk about that later or another show or whatever. But mine it was a different framing of it. And so then, I decided to jump into all kinds of suffering, because suffering is stress. And so that's when I worked at the Northside Hospital with the women, whose all their babies were dead, and we had to do horrible things like deliver a dead baby. And then I had to take it down to pathology and put it in the refrigerator and then wait for their family to get there a day later. And then I would do the funeral there at the hospital before they'd leave, and horrendous things I had to do.
Yeah.
And then I was fascinated. I worked at the battered women's shelter in downtown Atlanta at Grady. That was suffering and stress beyond belief. Women came in with their ears cut off, their throats cut. One man had a fight with his wife and couldn't get her ring off that he wanted back, and he put her arm down the garbage disposal, and so she comes in with it. So it was. I decided hospice and AIDS hospice, where I changed diapers on 65-pound men dying of AIDS back then, and so I wanted to go into stress and suffering on a mitochondrial level. I was smart, so I knew I could manipulate and cognitively learn the data. I knew that. But I wanted to experientially know what Desmond Tutu felt like being Black in apartheid his whole life.
Let me ask you this, Kathleen. So our community here, you talked about your tribe. We definitely have our tribe here. And I think our tribe has come together because of humor. I'm a comic and we make fun of lots of things. But so many people, I feel like, including myself, I've in the last 2 years went through divorce, lost my dad, hit menopause. All my kids kind of flew the coop. Now they're back. Those are lots of different forms of stress for both of those. What do you say to, I mean, it sounds like so many of the things that you've dealt with were extremes, right? Either that you put yourself in to deal with your things, or then came back to, and then again, put yourself out to help people. Like, what do you say are some good pieces of advice for people who are just in their regular life dealing with, maybe it's just death, maybe, I mean, it was kind of unusual for all of mine to be happening at the same time, but like you, I'll move towards things. I'd rather move through it, learn some lessons, feel every moment of it. Cause I didn't want to avoid it and then have it ruin future relationships or come up 10 years later to resolve it. So I am of the same pact as you. But what do you say to people who, are not able to sell everything and have this moment of solitude or have the relationships that you've had? What are your best pieces of advice for people to manage it? Is it to move towards it? And I say that because it's very natural to me to move towards it and to feel all of it. But I feel like, we're an anxiety family. We talk about anxiety a lot here. And avoidance is usually the thing that most people do.
That's right.
And so when my daughter was very young, it was clear she had a true anxiety disorder. And I had said to her, if you let anxiety decide what you do and don't do, you will never do what you're meant to do. So Amen. She would sit and she would cry. She wanted to be an altar server and she sat up on that.
Bless her heart.
She cried and cried the entire time and did it
for her
until she doesn't do it anymore. So what are some of the coping skills or the things mantras that you tell people to help them move towards the things that make them afraid?
Right. And now remember, I've been doing this a long time. So when I'm on major networks or radio shows, a lot of my call-ins are, I live off $12,000 a year or $15,000 a year, or I'm on Medicaid, and they'll actually yell at me and go, you had this choice, you did this. How am I supposed to do it? So I get it. I'm totally in with you 1,000,000%. Yeah. But that's an excuse too. Meaning, and the answer to your question is, how do you start? You start with, I believe, I call it ACE, ACE. I think it's in my first book. And ACE is awareness, number one. And think of it like balancing your checkbook, credit and debit, simple, credit, debit. You put your deposits in your checking account, you put your minuses. So the positive are which is what we women don't do, especially when we're stressed out, have kids, jobs. What brings you life? Is it wearing orange one day? Is it petting the dog that I saw you with when you can? Is it planting or canning? Is it going to a great movie in the afternoon? What are the things that feed you, just like a deposit in a checking account? What deposits you? What gives you pure joy? And that credit side. On the debit side, I used to call them poisons, but poisons make it negative. So since I did the Buddhist thing with all these people, I've changed all that. I call it on the debit side, what is keeping you from living your life? So things like shame, fear, anger, jealousy, all those are huge. Guilt. So put those on the right side. And then by those, you put guilt. What do I feel guilty about? For me, it would be, I don't have much guilt. So let me go on to the next one. Anger. Quit shooting birds at people in Atlanta at stoplights. Anyway, you're the stress expert. Stop it. Quit hitting people with your card in the Publix line because they keep talking to. Anyway, so we all have our things in the debit side, but it's only an awareness, because other than that, you sit there and go, I'm so angry. I'm so, I'm so fearful. So when I work with patients and clients, they flood it with, no, you got to delineate what these things are. Only when you delineate, then I know that mine's in the car.
So be specific about what you're angry about.
That's where your awareness, right? Okay. Where your awareness comes. And next is choice. ACE, ace your life. C is choice. Look at those. So on the left side, go, I haven't had a bath in a year, and I love baths. So you see, or, I haven't been to a movie even by myself or with my friend, and I've got little kids. Do you see? So you start looking, this is what we don't do. We women we don't do the left side. Once you start feeding the left side, it's a miracle what's going to happen to your life, because all of a sudden you feel whole. You find out who you really are. You find out that maybe I was great at finance, good at money. I loathed it. Why was I doing it then? The reason I did it was because I grew up with nothing and a mother who was poor. And no matter what I did, every night I went to bed, I told myself, I will never be poor. I will never be dependent on a man. I will never be like my mother. You see, so the driving force. So my whole life had been created, Dina, do you understand what I was afraid of?
Instead of something that you chose.
Thank you. I love you. So then on the left side was, boy, I really love plants. And I wanted to go back to school to be a landscape architect. I love. So my thing was, that's on the awareness. Then the choice. You got to make a choice. And here's where women have the biggest problem: choice. Choose. I have a whole line of merchandise when I had a product company of my work a long time ago, because I would give these speeches, talks, be all over the nation or world. And then I would give out these products. One is I choose, and the other bag says commitment. Those were the two things, because we don't commit to it. And one is we're afraid to choose. So I choose, meaning, okay, I'm going to take a bath once a week, no matter what. And I am going to eat an ice cream sandwich, whatever it is. I don't care what it is. And on the other side, I am so tired of being afraid. I am so tired of hating my job and hating do you see, whatever it is, and don't choose too many now on the debit side, because you'll get overwhelmed. Yeah. You get overwhelmed. And then ACE is try it. See, that's the energy from the experience. It's like the energy. So then go, I did take that bath once a week, and it wasn't what I thought it was. I thought I wanted to take a bath because all my friends take baths, but that didn't work. You see, or I thought I wanted to take that class, but I went out at Emory and went to the evening at Emory, just the part-time. I really didn't like accounting, or I did. Do you see? So did it build up your energy or vibrational frequency, and you felt more whole or complete? Or did you go, I tried that didn't work. And then on the other side, the debit side, which is the, negative side, and for me, anger in the car. Okay, I do. We have the worst traffic in the world. I guess you know that. Atlanta does. So every day I leave here, and I'm not even Catholic anymore. I have holy water out in the garage. It's true. I got it from Lourdes. I am so desperate. I used to get the local water, and then I thought, no, I'm going to get some Lourdes water.
Yeah, to get the juiced up water.
I am so rageful. I need some high-powered.
It's so funny because the way that you talk, it's like real relaxing and calming, and then you're just flipping the bird at people when you drive. That's hilarious.
So then I get the water and I throw it on my car, my RAV4 Toyota. I used to drive Mercedes and all kinds of cars like that. You know what I also noticed? When you drive a car like that in Atlanta and you sit at a stoplight, people shoot birds at you, they hate you, they cut you off. But when you drive a Toyota RAV4, they let you in. They wave to you. They
Oh.
smile. So I said, I'll never drive a great car again. I love this. I love people being nice to me. So anyway, I throw holy water on the car, get in the car, make the sign of the cross. And again, I'm not even Catholic anymore. And I go, okay, God, today, no cursing, no birds, no filthy language.
Okay.
And I make it, I don't know, 2 blocks, maybe 3 blocks. And my husband, this is my husband's theory, him and my daughter, my doctor daughter, she goes, you know, Mom, when you don't act like that, when you don't cuss and do this stuff, she said, we don't even like you. You're weird. It's like you're trying to be some kind of saint and you're disgusting. We love that part of you.
We love the dirty you.
I mean, it got so bad, Dina. I even went and bought holy water founts and put them at every door so that I go in and out. I am a funny person. Then I bought mezuzahs. You know what mezuzahs are at the doors?
Oh yeah. I used to have one.
If you're Jewish,
Yeah.
I have mezuzahs, holy water.
Yeah.
I got the whole thing. Every
Yeah.
time. Now, Kathleen, whatever happens, you really dislike that neighbor. But when you see him, be nice to him. Don't do it.
Yeah.
Every time.
Yeah.
If I could just. So anyway, see, we're all human. But the awareness,
Yeah.
the choice,
Yeah.
and the experience, I go, I really like that. You're not habitually, there's a difference. You're not habitually doing something. You're practicing. This is another thing they taught me, these spiritual, unbelievable world Nobel Prize winners.
Yeah.
This is what they mentored me, was it's practicing.
Yeah.
Habitual is no mind. You're just doing it over and over. Practice. Practice.
Yeah.
And we learn that in horse riding, horse training, breeding horses. Practice.
Yeah.
Because
I have the same conversations with my kids. For all my kids and I are musicians, and I have always said to them, I'm like, I played piano since I was a kid, and if you asked me, what day did I learn the piano? I can't tell you. I have no idea. I just did it over and over again. There wasn't a day that I could be like, that was the day that I learned. It just became part of my routine, was to practice. And so you learn a little something every day. And so there are plenty of times where my kids are putting it, like now 2 of my kids are doing stand-up and they're like, it's not going well, I'm not funny, it's not this, it's not that. I'm like, there's not a day that I can tell you that was the day I found out was funny.
Oh, that's adorable.
It is not something. Sometimes
I love this.
We learn things by just doing them, by putting ourselves into a place where we could learn. And so, but to your point, my favorite poem is the Serenity Prayer.
Yes, I say it every day.
And I always say to my kids, I'm like, accept the things you cannot change, the courage to change the thing you can, and the wisdom being the most important part.
Amen.
Sometimes you're fighting something that isn't going to change, and there's got to be an awareness that you're just banging your head up against the same wall over and over again. And so that wisdom is the most important part. And so, there's so many things I think that we have in common.
Yeah, we do. And again, I haven't had, during this time, we talked about a lot of other things, but I didn't actually get to give you a lot of the great tips. And
I think you've given us a ton of great tips, and you probably have a million more. So I want to make sure that everybody goes out and checks out your books. So you have 4 books. Is there one book that you feel like is the first one people should read that you like more than others for what we've talked about today?
I think where the people I think mindful living every day is pretty important. Meaning what I did was Harriet is. I love Harriet. Harriet is the person I serve from the beginning of my life. And it's the person that's kind of like my mother, that will really, it wasn't her fault. She had no education. She had no training to be able to be powerful. And so my life is to serve Harriet, who is every woman, whether she's scrubbing floors at Walmart or whether she's the CEO. So, and that's what my body of work with all these corporations. I know women, and that's what they pay me for and work with me for. So my job in my life is to serve Harriet. And in that book is dedicated to Harriet, because I got up in the morning with Harriet and went through every phase of her life during that day. Getting up in the morning. What do you do when you're still in bed? What do you say to yourself, or what do you do in the shower? What do you do at breakfast? What do you do on your commute? What do you do at work? What do you do with your kids? Do you say, so there's a whole thing of and Harriet's tired when she reads it. She just got home. She's got 3 kids. She's a single mom. So 3 pages. Each chapter is just 3 pages.
That's
So
nice.
no matter how tired she is. So again, with Harriet in mind, my beloved book that I love though is A Life in Balance. That's an old book. It was 2006, but that's my love. I mean, it's my love book. The other one is a great book, and it's very quick, very simple, because I know Harriet's tired.
Yes. Harriet's very tired. So the other bar, so it's Mindful Living Every Day, Uncommon Hope, A Life in Balance, Nourishing the 4 Roots of True Happiness, and Alter Your Life, Overbooked, Overworked, and Overwhelmed. I know Michelle's been putting the links into the
chat. And also the great thing too is mindfullivingnetwork.com.
Okay.
Or OUR, our MLN, or you can go to either one, OUR MLN or mindfullivingnetwork.com. Through my body of work, thousands, God knows how many, 10, 20,000 articles, interviews, Washington Post, you name it. My contracts were always for me to keep my material. So all of that's on there. So what we do is we have videos, we've got anything, mindful eating, mindful gardening, mindful family. We've got a great one on how to have a family meeting, which is critical. We need to, at some point, if you want, we could talk about families and children, because that's the number 1 stressor with women right now.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Especially with gaming and nature deficit disorder and stuff. You know, the Surgeon General has named it the number 1 crisis is in the world right now, with everything else going on, is our children and our family. Because here's what I found out, that I could send, because my kids they were very not only blessed, but worked their asses off too. They went to Ivy League schools. And what I noticed was you got there, and I don't care if the person in her dorm went to ABC or, you know, was the CEO of ABC or whatever. If you do not prepare your children, they could, when you get into those schools, everybody's got a 4 or 5.0. Okay. They're all smart. The difference of the sustainability and kindness and leadership and love and a good human being on this earth is if they learned how to be stress resilient. Because what I see is all these kids getting all these great degrees from all these great schools. Then I see them at 28 or 30, nervous breakdown, cocaine addicts, because they were taught to go to school and do this and do that. But they are inheriting a world that is so incredibly dynamic, stressful, and challenges is what I'm going to be positive and trying to be positive.
Yeah, it's funny. Like I said, my youngest, we had noticed pretty early, by 2nd or 3rd grade, was the anxiety. And all of my kids have had their moments up through college of having that moment where they're just like, I can't handle this. And they're awful times and they're horrible times. And I know there's a ton of people listening that have gone through similar situations. But as we move through it, as we learn about medicines, as we learn about their brain, as we learn about resources and therapists,
yes,
I say to them, I'm like, I know that this is awful, but it is a blessing that you are learning this now, because there are 40-year-olds and 50-year-olds who have never had this discussion, never had interventions, never learned how to understand their own brain. And you will be eons ahead if you can learn this now. This is part of your education. And so I'm a big fan of everything that you're saying. I want to thank you for being here. We definitely have to have you on again, just to learn about horses or goats or whatever it is you decide to talk about that day, Kathleen, because I'm a fan. So thank you.
TMI.
Yes, no, this was so lovely. And I thank you so much. And I can't wait to hear more stories about your
And what a blessing you are. I'm serious. I enjoyed this. What a kind, gentle heart you have. Thank you so much. I really, really enjoyed your presence. And I say that with a capital P, presence, because I believe each one of us is a living prayer of God, not to God, because that would mean God was out there. But each of us is a living prayer, and our challenge and our mission and our order is to help each other unfold.
Yeah. Well,
and you're doing that. So thank you. So
thank you. And I think you have a lot of fans here that really enjoyed all of your stories. It's so fun. We have lots of different guests come on, and some of the, people come on with expertise in so many things, but the ones who have amazing stories, whether it's on topic or off, it all kind of comes back. And it's just so interesting to hear about everyone's life experience and how they got there.
And as a matter of fact, I'm running off right now, meeting my daughter at a counseling center. So it's as you said, I love what you said. It's a continuing process because she grows. She's a mother now and navigating very difficult times with managing a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old. She runs 5 ICUs,
Wow.
5 intensive care units.
Wow.
And she and I, she's so stressed out, and it's come out. We're the moms, right? They always throw up on us first. They started throwing up on us when they were small, and it doesn't stop. It just gets a little stinkier. I got news for you, and it sticks a little harder, and it's a little harder to figure out.
Yes.
Yeah. And our therapist helps us clean it up.
Yeah, focus it for sure. Well, thank you so much,
care.
Kathleen. I'll see you soon. We'll have you
Happy
back.
holidays. Happy holidays. You too. Bye-bye.
How amazing was that? Wow. I love when we have guests on that, like David, who came on to talk about Story Summit, who we're going to have another guest next week from Story Summit. But just so many people that are doing good things in the universe. And I am such a fan of storytelling. I'm such a fan of, hearing people's testimonies and how they came to where they have come to find some great success. And so I've said it before and I'll say it again, if there's something in your life that just feels stuck, sometimes you have to shake the tree and you have to move in a different direction and you have to go through that process of trying things. So, if nothing else, take from this, maybe sit down and do that awareness part. What are the things that make you angry? What are the things that you're struggling with? What are the things that you're afraid of? Make your circle. And put it in your circle and then experiment. Yeah, try different things. What are the things that bring you joy? Her name is Dr. Kathleen Hall. And I know Michelle's been putting those links in, but you can find her at the Mindful Living Network, the Stress Institute, and you can check out all of her books. I'm sure we'll have her on again, if nothing else, to hear more about horses and goats. Because that was just as intriguing. Can you imagine a 125-pound baby? Anything? No. Mm-mm. Yes, it'll be available to rewatch. Stephanie's been taking all of our interviews out of our bigger shows and putting them up on YouTube. So you'll be able to see all of our guests, just their segments. If you'd like to rewatch them again outside of the morning show, you can check out YouTube. But thanks. I know we're overdue today. So thanks for staying with us. I think she was well worth it. And we will be back tomorrow morning. I want to thank sexy producer Michelle for bringing another great guest on. She's not going to hit the clap button for herself, but we'll clap for her anyway. And that's it. So thanks for being here. Like Judy from Saskatoon says, do something nice for yourself today. It's Selfish Thursday. I just made that up. And it's a good thing. So do something nice for yourself today. But thank you. I hope you have a great day and a blessed day. And I look forward to seeing you guys here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I'll see you. Bye.
Hey guys, if you enjoyed today's morning show, make sure to follow us for more One Funny Mother content.
Okay, all right. Morse code is tapping.
And check out OneFunnyMotherStore.com for great new inappropriate swag. And for more exclusive content, consider becoming a supporter.
She got a bad leg.
Thanks again, and we'll see you tomorrow on One Funny Morning.